Westworld finally introduced something they've been projecting to since the end of last season, and that's Shogun World. And it could have gone wrong in a lot of ways, but I think it really worked out. And that's in large part due to the actor who played Musashi, Hiroyuki Sanada. So we talked about this on What the Flick.
Yes.
If you want a review of that episode, go to What the Flick. But in this episode, it introduced us to a different world. And we saw the Raj before. I kind of don't understand why anyone would go to the Raj who wasn't really obsessed with colonialism and possibly racial things. But I really liked the appeal and the mirroring between this world and Westworld. They played it really well with that heist scene, which is, I mean, if you watch it side by side, which I think the video is available with the scene from Westworld Season 1, it's pretty good.
Yeah, they really lean into the idea that, we're seeing kind of similar things happen in both Westworld and Shogun World, and that, based on the necessity, as Lee says, I've got to do 300 stories. Of course I'm going to crib some stuff and kind of plagiarize. I mean, I love that. What's really funny is when Maeve accuses him of plagiarizing, I thought, well, is that really plagiarism? Because you're using your own material.
According to college, yes. When I remember we were writing papers and they were like, don't use your old paper or any parts of it. That's plagiarism, even if you thought of the own intellectual process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Maeve is right.
Okay. All right.
But I mean, if you think about it, there's a long history of Westerns borrowing from samurai films borrowing from Westerns.
Right.
Kurosawa famously loved Westerns. He loved John Ford. That's a significant name.
Right.
And then also he made Seven Samurai, and of course that got remade in the Western side, and he pulled from Shakespeare, and they pulled from him. So it's this whole cyclical film thing that I'm sure you know more about than I do.
Well, it's interesting because both eras that those two parks are set in, both Westworld and Shogun World, are these great kind of traditional yet lawless environments that allow for rich storytelling. And so, you see, there's been decades and decades of Westerns, and you see some of not that Kurosawa never made movies set in contemporary times, but some of his most iconic work is these set in feudal Japan. And you see a lot of Hong Kong action films that are set in roughly the same time, because you've got this kind of intersection of both what we would consider modern society, but yet then also really violent, adventuresome, kind of almost frontier, lawless areas that you can get into these adventures, but still tell these morality stories.
I mean, the Edo period is an interesting time because things are starting to modernize. It's not like the Meiji period, where it went from kind of a more rural setting to a major world power.
Right.
Or an industrial power as well.
Right. And so we're seeing the Edo period here, and I think that it's, like you said, it's pretty well represented. I love that the actor who was playing Musashi, who is
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah.
So he's really well known in Japan, and he's appeared in a lot of different Western shows and movies as well, such as Lost, which the show gets compared to a lot.
Right. It gets compared to Lost. I think that J.J. Abrams is less involved in the day-to-day of this one. This is really Jonathan Nolan working on a lot of this. I think it's more just kind of like Bad Robot has helped fund it and help it find a home. But yeah, Sanada is, he's done some he's done a lot of advising on getting the cultural stuff right. I think that really shows in this. I think we're seeing some really interesting interplay between the characters. His character's name, Musashi, which is obviously an homage to the legendary Miyamoto Musashi. Now, Musashi is not supposed to exactly be Miyamoto Musashi, but Sanada has said, where possible, he's trying to show some of the, double-armed fighting style that Musashi was known for. So, little bit of an Easter egg in there for people who really know their classic kind of Japanese lore in this environment.
I mean, he didn't do the top knot that Musashi had. And I mean, according to people on the set, specifically the actor who plays Lee, he said that he would show up on days that he wasn't filming and correct small things, like maybe the fold of the kimono is wrong, maybe the placement of certain weapons and props was wrong, so that He fixed a little bit. There are some purposeful inaccuracies because, you know, this is in the canon and in reality an Eastern world made by Westerners.
Right.
But so he has, since he's supposed to be Hector, he has the leather thing on his kimono that he wouldn't normally have.
Right.
And I guess maybe in the future he'll have more interplay with Hector.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know. Maybe they'll have an armistice thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that was an interesting one too, right? Like, I kind of want to see the byplay of those characters and see, you know, do they start to evolve in different directions, or, you know, I mean, it starts to ask the question, like, when you're presented with an almost exact version of yourself, how are you going to react?
I think I would react poorly, personally.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'll see how they react with each other. Will it be fascination? Will it be empathy? Or will they destroy each other? I don't know yet, but we'll find out in the next coming weeks of Westworld. Audience, what did you think of Shogun World? Would you visit it? Please let us know on Facebook and Twitter.